Today, the president of Planned Parenthood, Cecile Richards, was speaking in front of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. And during this hearing, she was defending not only herself, but also Planned Parenthood. And she was basically making it very clear that the videos that were put out against Planned Parenthood by the Center for Medical Progress were not only edited, but they were highly deceptive and, of course, fraudulent. So as a result, a lot of interesting things happened at this 5-hour-plus meeting. One representative, Republican representative by the name of Jason Chaffetz, decided to confront Cecile Richards with a graph that looked questionable, to say the least. Now, one of the things that people like to argue in favor of Planned Parenthood is that they only perform about 3%, or 3% of what they do has to do with abortions. Everything else they do has to do with reproductive health, breast cancer screenings, STD screenings, those types of things. Well, this Republican representative says, not so fast. It turns out that abortions have actually increased and any other type of care at Planned Parenthood has decreased. Now, Cecile Richards called his bluff in the next video. Take a look.
I've gone over time. I need to show this last slide. This one I don't understand.
Absolutely.
And that's part of the challenge, is that you don't do mammograms. So if you... Go ahead.
I'm sorry,
I don't do mammograms, correct? There's like 1 or 2 places that doesn't, but you don't do mammograms.
If you would give me one moment to explain. Planned Parenthood is a women's health center, just like where I go for my breast exams every year. If you need a mammogram, you're referred to a radiological center, and that's how women actually receive their care. And we provide breast exams to, I can get you the numbers of how many hundreds of thousands of women received breast exams at Planned Parenthood last year. Has nothing to do with, I don't, again,
here's
you
the
created this slide, I have no idea what it is.
Well, it's the reduction over the course of years in pink. That's the reduction in the breast exams, and the red is the increase in the abortions. That's what's going on in your organization.
This is a slide that has never been shown to me before. I'm happy to look at it, and but it absolutely does not reflect what's happening at Planned Parenthood.
You're going to deny that if we take those numbers out of your report?
That you've just shown me that no one has ever provided us before. We've provided you all the information about everything, all the services that Planned Parenthood provides, and it doesn't feel like we're trying to get to the truth here. You just showed me this. I'm happy to look at it.
I pulled those numbers directly out of your corporate reports.
Oh, excuse me, my lawyers are informing me that the source of this is actually Americans United for Life, which is an anti-abortion group, so I would check your source.
Then we will get to the bottom of the truth of that. We'll now recognize Mr. Cummings for a generous 7 minutes.
I thought it was 8, Mr. Chairman. I think it's 8.
That was awesome. In fact, we will get to the bottom of the truth on the show today, where I'm going to give you guys the exact numbers and how unbearably deceptive that graph is.
It was not the big finish that Jason Chaffetz was looking for. He was, I mean, he's like, yeah, this didn't cut, because he almost was okay. I mean, he was never okay. He was always on rocky ground.
Yeah.
But then toward the end, he just went over he's like, I got this right from your annual report. Like, no, you didn't.
Well, his questioning there so clearly displayed how uninformed he is about women's care, because it's true, Planned Parenthood doesn't do mammograms. I went to Planned Parenthood when I was about 19, 20 years old because I found a lump in my breast, okay? And I touch it, it feels hard, it feels like what breast cancer would feel like, and I go to all these different, I go to one doctor who kept asking me over and over again about whether or not I had insurance, and they seemed annoyed that I didn't have insurance. I'm a college student working part-time, so no, I don't have insurance. I need you guys to help me out. They let me know that if I wanted a sonogram done to confirm that I don't have breast cancer, it was going to cost $200 on top of the $100 I had already paid just to see the doctor. So I went to Planned Parenthood, and I had them take a look. They did a breast exam, and then they explained to me, you're unlikely to have breast cancer. This is probably something else that's usually caused by drinking too much caffeine. But if you want to get a sonogram done to ensure that you don't have cancer, we can refer you to someone who will do it for free. And that's exactly what Planned Parenthood did for me. You want to know how much they charged me? Nothing. They charged me nothing. They asked for a donation. I gave them $10. That's what happens at Planned Parenthood. No, they might not provide mammograms, but they provide you with the attention, the medical attention you need to make sure that you're healthy. So let me get that out of the way. Second part of this has to do with the graph.
Can I jump in for 1 second?
Go ahead.
Based on what you just said, because what I like is is that Representative Chaffetz had no earthly idea how it works.
No idea, exactly.
Like you don't, as you sometimes might get your blood drawn somewhere else or your blood taken somewhere else and tested somewhere else. Like not everything happens at the doctor's office.
At the same place,
right,
exactly.
Right, there's a place that does mammograms, and maybe in some places it's the same, it might be connected to the, but they'll recommend you to go to that other place to get it. And she very, I thought, expertly was like, I get it, you have no clue how women's health works. And by the way, just before let me say one little sentence that I think Planned Parenthood we should remind people of, and that Planned Parenthood ought to remind. They're the largest provider of reproductive health services in the country. The largest. This is what they do, is provide reproductive health services. That's what Republicans are trying to cut, taking the main organization in the country that looks after the reproductive health of women, and they want to take the funding away from that. Okay.
Yes, that's exactly right. Now, for some of you, you might think, all right, well, maybe that graphic that he showed during the hearing might have come from a right-wing anti-abortion organization, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the information provided is wrong.
I don't know. Just real quick, I don't know a lot of graphs that look like that. Just in general. Generally, when I go on 538 and I look at graphs, they don't look sort of like that. So right. I'm initially I'd have been a little dubious.
All right. So if you look carefully at the graph, it's made to manipulate you, even though some of it implies the correct data. So let's take a quick look at it. Graphic number 1. So if you look at the numbers, it's actually very interesting because you can see that Planned Parenthood doesn't actually do more abortions than cancer screenings and preventative services, okay? So it's a little over 300,000 abortions and way, way more cancer screenings and preventive services. But the reason why it looks as though it was increased like that is because there's no y-axis in the graph.
Yeah, it just means one number's gone up, one number's gone down. They don't have anything to do with each other.
They have nothing to do with each other, okay? So let me give you concrete numbers. In 2006, Planned Parenthood performed 2,007,371 anti-cancer screenings and 289,750 abortions. By 2013, the gap had closed slightly, but the group still performed many more anti-cancer services than abortions. Again, the numbers that were portrayed in that graph, 935,573 to 327,000. So it's clear that he obviously used that to shock the audience, shock the people at the hearing, make it seem as though, oh my gosh, Planned Parenthood's actually doing more abortions than anything else. But that's not true. That's not what's really happening. And it's amazing how much they distort the facts because the facts are not on their side. They have no other choice. That's the reason why the Center for Medical Progress had to, edit those videos to make it seem like Planned Parenthood was doing something illegal when they were not. And that's the reason why this Republican clown is showing them a graph that is insanely deceptive.
I get it. I know they're on the wrong side of every important issue, but I'm amazed that graph, that no one thought, this is a silly graph. Because they have another graph out today, which I just downloaded from the internet. This is a graph of Republican ideas over the last 10 years. As you can see, good ideas vastly are increasing over bad ideas are going way down, and good ideas are on the uptick. So I don't understand why anybody wouldn't vote. Look at this chart. It's revealing. It's so telling.
That's amazing. They're just amazing. And look, Cecile Richards was very composed throughout that entire hearing. I mean, it's longer than 5 hours. She managed to compose herself. She managed to fight back against any type of ridiculous allegation against Planned Parenthood. And I'm proud of her. I think she handled it appropriately. There was only one moment of weakness, and that was when Republicans asked her why she had apologized after the videos were released if Planned Parenthood is not doing anything wrong. Well, she apologized because she thought that the tone and the conversation that was being had with these ridiculous people from the Center for Medical Progress shouldn't have happened in a public setting. So they're talking about a medical procedure. Obviously, it's something that should probably take place in a more private setting, not at a restaurant. And so she apologized for that. But I knew the second that she did apologize for it, Republicans would take her apology and they would twist it against her, and that's exactly what they did during this hearing.